Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all, wherever you are. Thank you for joining our session, Youth in Building Coalition for a Billion Acts of Peace, hosted by the United Nations Information Center in Tokyo. My name is Tomoko Kubota from TBS News, moderating this discussion. You can join our conversation on social media by using the hashtag #TurnItAround. Peace and security are the most fundamental mission of the United Nations and a cross-cutting cornerstone of the Sustainable Development Goals and the 2030 Agenda. As it has been the case with Me Too, Fridays for Future, Black Lives Matter movements, in calling for sustainable peace, passion, energy, and creativity of young people have been critical to transform our society. In this session, 4 youth champions from South Sudan, Iraq, Japan, and the United States of America will bring their diverse perspectives together. They will discuss the role of youth in passing on stories of resilience beyond generations and beyond boundaries. They will present their innovative projects with an out-of-the-box thinking, making use of AI, ICT, art, and music, and share their personal stories that have motivated them to take those approaches. We have an honor to have UN Under-Secretary General for Disarmament Affairs, Ms. Izumi Nakamitsu, with us today. She will share views as well as give direct suggestions and encouragements to the young leaders. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Nakamitsu for introductory remarks on her expectations towards youth leadership in peace and disarmament, as well as her views on channeling young voices into policy dialogues. Ms. Nakamitsu?
Thank you, Tomoko. It is my great pleasure to speak with you all today, and I look forward to discussing the innovative projects brought forward by the youth champions. Today's world is home to the largest generation in history. 40% of the world's population is under the age of 25. Their action, passion, and innovation are critical for advancing the SDGs. The idea that disarmament and arms control are connected to development is not new. Article 26 of the Charter of the United Nations recognizes disarmament as a precondition for durable peace, security, and development by calling for the maintenance of international peace and security with the least diversion of the world's economic and human resources for arms. In his agenda for disarmament, the Secretary General described a vast potential for disarmament activities to further advance our pursuit of development objectives. But unfortunately, disarmament has largely slipped off the development agenda, despite overwhelming evidence that excessive arms accumulation diverts needed resources from development and fuels armed conflict and violence. This results in unnecessary death and suffering, social inequality, and environmental degradation. I believe that investment in disarmament and arms control is a direct investment in long-term peace and security, and therefore in sustainable development. Advancing disarmament and arms control makes a real difference for development. Acknowledging this fact on a broader scale will make the world safer, more prosperous, and better prepared to tackle 21st century challenges. Young people have shown leadership in raising awareness and advancing development in all areas, from speaking out against weapons proliferation and gender discrimination to calling for climate action and racial justice. Young people are a powerful driving force behind such movements. They are leaders in building more inclusive, diverse, and empowering coalition for dialogue, which results in transformative and comprehensive action. We continue to look to young people, like those joining me today, as participants and organizers, to be the ultimate force for change as national and world citizens, now and for future generations. We must listen, engage, and empower the young generation to move our collective efforts forward in advancing the Sustainable Development Goals and in realizing a safer, more secure future for all. And to our young partners, I want you to believe that you can change the world. I thank you for your attention and look forward to hearing and discussing the innovative ideas presented by the 4 youth leaders. Now we will watch a short video to kickstart our conversation.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nakamitsu, for your encouraging words. Now let's move on to presentation by youth champions. First, I'd like to invite Ms. Mary Papio from the United States of America, based in Hiroshima, to take the floor. Mary?
Thank you so much, Tomoko-san. As she said, my name is Mary Popio. Hello, everyone. And I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts in the United States, but I am co-founder of Peace Culture Village, or PCV, which is a peace education nonprofit incorporated in Hiroshima, Japan. And we are a bilingual team of Japanese and non-Japanese young professionals who have dedicated our careers to pursuing peace culture and to practicing Hiroshima-style peace education. So here at PCV, we are about raising human consciousness through peace education steeped in the history of Hiroshima and the lessons of Hiroshima. We are about creating sustainable jobs and careers in the peace fields. And we are about cultivating the next generation of peace culture leaders and equipping them with the tools they need to change the world for the better. And we have many different programs that we run. We host school field trips. We offer peace education curriculum for schools. We facilitate online Hiroshima experiences using Google Earth. We guide daily tours of Hiroshima Peace Park, and we conduct peace leadership training for Japanese young people. And here at PCV, we believe that the story of Hiroshima, the story of the atomic bomb survivors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, are the heart of the nuclear disarmament and the broader peace movement. But we've noticed 3 challenges. First is that the average age of the survivors is now 82 years old, and we might be the last generation to hear their stories firsthand. Second is that it's increasingly difficult to interest young people in nuclear disarmament issues because it seems very distant from our lives and difficult to relate to. And finally, due to economic, health, or environmental concerns, most people will never have the opportunity to visit Hiroshima in person and learn about what happened in Hiroshima. And of course, this is compounded by COVID-19, but we believe that these are real challenges to a thriving future disarmament movement. And so this summer, PCV was wondering, how do we pass on the stories of the atomic bomb survivors, pass on their legacy, and continue to inspire people to strive for a more peaceful world? So we're now partnering with an American company called Time Looper to use immersive technology, specifically augmented reality technology, as a tool to capture the stories of survivors. And we applied the immersive technology to the 3 problems I mentioned earlier. So first, immersive technology has the power to really preserve survivor stories, helping their memories to come to life in a way not possible before. I'll talk about that more later. Second, meeting survivors or experiencing certain aspects of what happened in Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, through immersive technology can help young people to make a personal connection, to build empathy, and to understand the dangers of nuclear weapons using a medium that we are interested in and understand. And third, immersive technology is the great equalizer, allowing people to encounter Hiroshima from the comfort of their own homes in a green and cost-effective way. So now I'd like to show you one example of how we're using immersive technology to preserve and increase access to atomic bomb survivor testimonies. So if you could show the video, please. So last summer, we unveiled our free iPhone app called Explore Hiroshima, which is explore with an X, which allows users to explore Hiroshima Peace Park in augmented reality. So you should be seeing 3D models. We used pictures and music and narrations to really try to bring Peace Park to life. So that was our video. If you could bring the camera back to me for a moment. So since we launched the Explore Hiroshima app, we have thankfully received so much support and encouragement from international organizations like the United Nations and like Hiroshima Prefecture. And we have received funding recently to actually improve and iterate upon our app. So here is a slide to illustrate that. You should be looking at a slide now titled Immersive Technology. And we're currently in the process of adding atomic bomb survivor holograms to our app. And the plan is to create an archive of atomic bomb survivor hologram footage in anticipation of a future where you will be able to see holograms not only through augmented reality, but standing right in front of you. So imagine a future where survivors can guide you through Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park, either from Peace Park or from your home. A future where survivors can continue to visit schools and give their testimonies, can have items from their past or from their testimony appear before the audience, bringing their memories to life. Or imagine a future where you could walk around Hiroshima, maybe in virtual reality, and go into homes of what Hiroshima was like before the atomic bombing, visit the people who lived there. So all that is to say that we really hope that immersive technology can be a tool to expand access to these atomic bomb survivor testimonies and help to preserve the soul of Hiroshima around the world and into the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mary, for giving us such a great example of how technology can bring and connect people together beyond time and borders. I myself am from Hiroshima, and I cannot wait to use that app in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to invite Mr. Jacques Abraham Thong from South Sudan to take the floor. Jacques?
Hi. I'm really excited to be here today, and I would like to ask you one quick question. How much money do your government spend on military equipment? Think about it. And how much do they spend on education, health, and in climate change? My name is Jacques Abram. I'm the founder of Promised Land Secondary School. Having grew up in Uganda as a refugee child, I learned how destructive conflict and wars are to humankind. I lost my younger brother to malaria because we stayed in a camp that was not having any health care, education, and good, clean water for drinking. My story is a story of resilience. It's a story to every refugee child across the world. It's a story to all the South Sudanese young people who has hope and who believe there's light at the terminal when you stand up for what you need to see in your community. I need you to see a video, and then we'll pick from there.
We have a school here, a secondary school. So if your child is willing to come, let them come and register.
It's like now 5 years since they were constructed, temporary like this. There's too much water to make collapse on them. We cannot blame the rooms because they have reached their limits. And it will be good to rescue this before the collapse because we may not have any other options.
My name is Jacques Abram, Thong. I believe nothing is impossible. Something done by a human being can be changed by a human being. I can still make something. In 2017, I started a campaign changing mind from bullets to book. This is the only thing driving me.
So I started the school as my contribution to seeing the change I need to see in the community. My idea is called Changing Mind from Bullet to Book. I believe when young people believe in the power of books to acknowledge and contribute to all the challenges they face in the society, it is the only way to go forward. In 2018, I and my partners in the United States started a campaign of Global Transformers. It's an idea of getting young people involved to be the agent of change that they need to see in their communities. We have seen young people becoming victims of wars that they're not part of it. Young people become victims for their own doing. So I did a campaign to help young people realize that they are the key to all what they need to see in the society. Getting the idea of global transformers is an effort to strengthen the global leaders to join hands together to be the agent of what they need to see for the young people. Thank you. I'll talk more about in the discussion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jacques, for sharing your life story and your convictions about the power of, maybe you will talk about this, but digital storytelling. I'm really interested in that too. We'll talk about that in the discussion. And now I would like to invite Ms. Anju Niwata from Japan to take the floor.
Hello, I'm Anju Niwata. I was born and brought up in Hiroshima, and now I'm a student of the University of Tokyo. I'm very appreciated to join this forum. First, please look at this photo which was taken in Hiroshima 83 years ago. Then I colorized it. How do you feel and what can you imagine? In 2017, in the summer, at the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park, I met Mr. Tokuso Hamai. He once lived in the Nakajima district, which existed under the ground of the present Peace Park. There were many stores, theaters, restaurants, and so on. About 4,400 people lived normal everyday lives, as we do today. His father ran a barbershop, and we can see his family in the anime movie In This Corner of the World. Although he could survive because of evacuation, all his family members died in the atomic bombing. More than 75 years have passed since the war ended. The war survivors are aging year by year. We are the last generation to learn from them directly. Then, how can we pass on the thoughts and memories of war survivors into the future? As one of the examples, I am going to tell you about my activity, Rebooting Memories. This is Mr. Hamai's original photo. He has about 250 black and white photos of his pre-war lives in his family album. 1 week after the meeting with him, I learned the colorization using AI technology from Professor Hidenori Watanabe from the University of Tokyo in his workshop. So I came up with putting the technology of colorization to good use with Mr. Hamai's photos because I'd like to give him an album as a present, which will always help him feel closer to his lost family. Seeing the colorized photos, Mr. Hamai said, "It's very beautiful, just like yesterday. My family seemed to be alive." He recalled his new memories in succession, so I recolored the photos based on his color of the memory. I produced a movie in cooperation with Mr. Yamauda Tetsuya, who once belonged to the Professor Watanabe's laboratory. You can watch it via this QR code, so please, after the forum, please have a look. I have promoted this activity cooperating with former citizens of Nakajima District and other war survivors. In July last year, I co-authored the colors photo collection, including 355 colors photos with Professor Watanabe, which result from the Rebooting Memories project. It conveys the memories of pre-war Hiroshima, Okinawa, and other regions in the world. In 2019, I released the Rebooting Memories AR app in cooperation with Professor Watanabe. Opening the application, you can overlay the maps of present Peace Park and Nakajima District before the atomic bombing. You can touch here, and you can see the colorized photos in this way and what there used to be there. When you visit Hiroshima and switch to tap this icon, you can use the AR mode. It will lead us to connect the present with the past. You can use it for free, so please download and try it. In conclusion, my activity is one of the new sustainable ways to inherit the thoughts and memories of war survivors so that people should never again have the same suffering. Through art and technology, I'd like to pass on the individual memories and for many people to imagine the peaceful lives suddenly lost by the war as something belonging to one's own experience and spread their feelings with empathy into the future. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Anju-san, for sharing your great project, which is passing on personal stories to future generations through the power of technology. I love the word rebooting memories. That sounds really amazing. Now I'm inviting Samuel from Iraq to take the floor. Samuel.
Thank you, Tomoko-san, for having me. Introduce me. First thing, I'm Sam Rayad from Iraq. Let me show you, please, the video that will shortcut a short story of my life.
كانت الحياة ناعمة وهادئة في صلاح الدين. لما دخلوا داعش مدينتي دخلوها مثل ما دخلوا المغول إلى بغداد. قدرنا نهرب منهم مصطحبين معنا فقط الضعف. جربت أعيش بالفقر، جربت أعيش بالتشرد. خسرت جامعتي، خسرت طموحي بأنه أكمل دراستي كطبيب أسنان وأتخرج كطبيب أسنان. رفضت بها الاستسلام، رفضت أنه أعيش، اخترت أنه أحيا. قررت أنه أنسى خسائري وأنه أعيد ترتيب الفوضى اللي بداخلي، وجدت عمل بسيط بعيدا عن اختصاصي، وفي أول مبلغ مالي استلمته قررت أنه أشتري أرخص آلة كمان موجودة في كركوك. لأنه في الموسيقى مظاهر سلمية، وداعش يحارب أي شيء، أي مظهر سلمي. اشتريت أبسط أدوات رسم كانت موجودة في السوق، وبديت أعلم نفس الرسم. هنا بديت أحلم من جديد، هنا بديت أحيا من جديد. بديت أحول كل هاي الطاقة السلبية اللي بداخلي من الظروف اللي مريت بها من خلال أنه أوثقها من خلال أسلوب أدبي اللي هو بالكتابة. قدرت أنه أكمل دراستي تقربي الوقت بجامعة بابل، وقدرت رغم الظروف أنه أنجح وتخرجت كطبيب أسنان. وأنا اليوم طبيب أسنان ودا أطبق في مجال جراحة الوجه والفكين. وأنا اليوم رسام، أقدر أرسم بكل أدوات الرسم، وعندي معارض محلية أكثرها سويتها معارض هي لدعم القوات الأمنية في محاربتها ضد داعش. أنا كإنسان بعد داعش أعتبر نفسي أفضل بكثير من الإنسان قبل داعش. العنف لا يواجه بالعنف دائما، والنار لا تطفأ بالنار. للعنف سلاح آخر، الرصاص البيضاء.
I wasn't sad during that period due to the urban or civilian destruction. The real sadness when you see or feel the ideological and spiritual and ideological destruction of a human being. I don't know what that will exactly lead to in the future, but I believe our fight back should begin from the mind, not from the military barracks. This means reconstruction of a spiritual structure of a human being in the form that will resist the dark ideology. My city has been attacked ideologically by ISIS before invasion. Music and art were extremely forbidden. They were said this is the sound of the devil. As long as radicalization and extremism are existent, the land will still give a birth of new terrorism like ISIS with new names. Unfortunately, we still have these people who think the sound of bullets is the voice of the God and affect negatively in the community. I choose to continue my career as a dentist and a surgeon in the one of the most dangerous town, which has highly potential to produce terrorism, as there is many out-of-law militias. One of these militias had kidnapped one of my cousin and killed the other and killed my cousin in the 26th. I'm working there for about 14 hours per day, helping the community for free or low prices, dental and surgical services, and try to be motivator and change maker through art and music in their community. I motivate their children to continue their schools and prevent children from labor by financial assistance to their family and prevent them from sending the children to the streets for begging or work. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. Thank you so much for sharing your story of commitment. Now, I would like to talk with Ms. Nakamitsu again. Having heard of these presentations and their aspirations for peace, you must have a number of comments to these young leaders. Over to you, Ms. Nakamitsu.
Thank you, Tomoko-san. Wow, Mary, Jacques, Andrew, and Samer, you are true explorers, finding creative ways to resolve problems, suggesting solutions. I am so very impressed and inspired. I can tell that young people like you really have the power to effect change. Your ideas bring fresh perspectives that can help strengthen peace and security. All I can say really is keep on being determined to make positive changes. Back to you, Tomoko-san.
Thank you. Well, now I would like to ask each one of you a couple questions. So I guess first, Mary, having participated in this session and listened to other speakers' presentations, do you see any potential of future collaboration with these colleagues, Mary?
Sure. Thank you for the question. So Anju and I actually are in Hiroshima together sometimes, and we're both in the field of peace education. Oh. So sometimes PCV uses Rebooting Memories photos for our peace education programs, and we collaborate in that way. And I don't know maybe what Anju's thinking about this, but I was thinking that the AI and the augmented reality technology that we're using to pass on the legacy of the atomic bomb survivors could possibly be useful in other contexts as well. So listening to Jacques and Samir's stories, I thought you have such powerful stories to tell. Your communities have such powerful stories to tell of resilience, of devastation and hope. And I think that immersive technology, AI technology, might be a really important tool for conveying these narratives and spreading them to many people. So this is just a thought, but I thought it would be really amazing if there could someday be some sort of online portal where students or young people could come and learn not only about Hiroshima and what happened here, but also about what happened in South Sudan, what's happening in South Sudan, what's happening in Iraq, and what's happening all over the world. So maybe there's room to collaborate there someday.
Wow, I'm really looking forward to seeing those new collaborations with Samuel or Jacques in the future. Great, thank you so much. How do you think you will continue the inheritance of war survivors' thoughts and memories in the future? And I know that's what you're doing.
Thank you for your question. My theme of the research is a space for peace education. So I'm going to belong to the Faculty of Education at the University of Tokyo. Thanks to like-minded people, I have put my thoughts into shape. For instance, I produced a video with Mr. Yamaura, and we won the student award at UFBFF, and we were invited to the UN, and the video was screened at Plural Plus in 2018. I could meet Mr. Seymour there, so I'm very happy to meet with him today. And I realized that the colorist photo can bring the thoughts and memories of war survivors as a universal message with empathy. In addition, holding some exhibition of colorist photos, publishing the colorist photo collection, and broadcasting in various new ways provided many people with space in which people can spark their conversation about war and peace together. Under the pandemic situation, virtual space will improve very well. Paradoxically, I think it's very important, the meaning of real space. For instance, if you can visit a peace park and walk around using AR mode, you will truly realize your 5 senses that the peace park plays role in a space for peace education. Participating in some international conferences, I found the importance of transmitting the message towards the professional in addition to civil society. Through these my experiences, I realized a space for peace education is widely open not only in the classroom but also in the various ways in various spaces. So as my life works, I will continue making use of art and technology and create these various spaces for peace education, so where people can improve war and peace as something belonging to one's own experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. That's amazing. Thank you. How would you like to pursue your story that is really strong, especially reaching out beyond borders? And also, I would like to ask about your cooperation with Jewish community and Holocaust survivors.
Yeah, thank you so much. As I told you before, the story is the story of resilience. And when I talk about the global transformers, I need to bring to the attention of the people across the world that we are in the same place. Even if we are in different countries, we face similar problems. And how do we join our effort to fight the same problems? The issue of gun violence is affecting people across the world, not only in South Sudan. But my idea is to bring to the attention of world leaders that we need to stop this. We need to bring to an end so that we live a peaceful world. I have a future that I need to build on, the future of my children and my great-grandchildren. And this call for my intervention to see all what I need to see in my society. So when I was in the US in 2018, I met Gail Prinsky, who is the founder of Cultural Stories, which talk about Holocaust survivors, the use of arts and music after the Holocaust. So when I bring it to South Sudan context, we need to bring the work of art, music, to pass information. We need to use education to change the minds of the young people, not to believe in their leaders, but to believe in themselves, the ability to build the future they need to see, the ability to build a country they all need to see. So she came to South Sudan with her team in 2019, and we did a lengthy documentary that talks about my story, the Bullet to Book. And that effort brought together the young people across South Sudan to share their stories and to change ideas, because there's no way people that are working for a common goal should work differently. So we need to join our effort as young people, and that is what we really did. And when we talk about this, when we talk about using arts, music, we find to heal, trauma healing. People that has gone through a lot of trauma, that have seen dead people, like myself. A poor 5 years old saw a body of his uncle being shot. Saw a lot of people dying. You know, we have that trauma that need to be healed. And using art and drama, we find our talent to solve our problems. And when I connect myself to the world, we use global transformers so that we all find our levels in various countries, so that we join our efforts and be the global agents of change, denouncing conflict and gun violence. You see numerous school shootings in the US, likewise in South Sudan and across the Middle East and elsewhere in Africa. We have seen dictators using young people as their tools to stay in power, not to deliver services. So my idea of changing mind from bullet to book is to let the young people be aware that politicians use them to fight so that they stay in power. So I want to withdraw the young people from the politicians and form a different group, a group that is for the future, a group not to see the future in a very good way, a group that will fight climate change, a group that will use education not to advance gun violence, but to advance medical research. Because if you see our education now is more of innovative ideas in gun culture, but not in human-related research. We have seen, when I take you back to the history of the guns, how it started as a very small research. But look now how we discuss it. We discuss weapons that can destroy even South Sudan in a very single minute. So if you see the progress of this, it scares me. That means one person can decide to kill everybody in his own house. So I need to bring the young people together under one umbrella of global transformers through changing mind from bullet to book, using arts to share their works across the continent, across the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jacques. Thank you for sharing your story, and that was really powerful. Thank you. And I'd like to ask Samuel. So the video you showed us demonstrates your conviction that a better weapon to fight violence is a peaceful resistance. I wonder how you reached that conviction. Samuel?
Thank you for asking me this question. It is almost axiomatic truth that the arts and its different classification feeding the imagination and give the mind expansion and openness toward the others, as it is the language of love and peace. And could any human beings understand it, even the children and the newborn? And creating great kind of a humanity connection, bring them strongly toward the moderation. And this is totally disagree with the closed-mindedness, especially ISIS ideology. ISIS feeding on these closed-minded, as it's shown a high degree of submission. So any activity that liberation the mind, ISIS is against.
What do you want or hope from the UN or the international community to bring peace to your country?
I hope from the United Nations, the direct supervision of election, because the past election was a distorted democracy, direct evaluation and aid of children by UNICEF to prevent children labor, evaluation and assessment of the education and infrastructure of education, and more we can help them to diagnose the problem and solve it together to save the new generation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So finally, to Ms. Nakamitsu, how can the UN ensure aspirations and energy of young people into policy debates and political dialogue?
Thank you for all these amazing contributions. So recognizing the importance of young people like yourselves to bring about change, the United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs, or UNODA, launched its youth outreach initiative. It's called #YouthForDisarmament in 2019 to engage, educate, and empower young people with the aim of facilitating their meaningful and inclusive participation in the field of disarmament and non-proliferation. In disarmament, no single action alone is able to achieve the outcomes required. We need to work together to achieve progress. UNODA is working with member states, UN entities, regional and sub-regional organizations, and various civil society organizations within and outside of our field to forge partnerships. In doing so, just last year, and despite the global pandemic, we were able to lead a conversation series on issues related to disarmament, launch a dedicated digital platform, youthfordisarmament.org, organize a contest, 75 Words for Disarmament Youth Challenge, and conduct the UN Youth Champions for Disarmament training program. The Youth for Disarmament Outreach Initiative was recognized as the best coalition building project of 2020 by the Billion Acts of Peace Awards, an activity of the Peace Jam Foundation and 14 Nobel Peace Prize winners. At the same time, through its disarmament education and responsible innovation in science and technology efforts, we are working with young people and educators to build the skills necessary for peace and disarmament in the future. By placing youth engagement and empowerment at the core of these efforts, we aim to support the Secretary General's recommendation to improve youth access to technical support and capacity building while building space for their participation. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So time flies, it's about to wrap up. So I'd like to invite every one of you to present closing comments, even though we don't really have so much time. So first, Mary.
Sure, thank you so much. I just want to thank all the conference organizers for this amazing opportunity. Like Jacques said, gathering people and gathering these transformers and these young people, I think is so important to tackle global issues. And so I'm really thankful to meet all the other presenters today, and for everyone watching at home. Hope that we can create peace together in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jacques?
Yeah, it's a great privilege, and I would like to thank the organizers and all the participants and the Undersecretary for joining and her inspiring words. We need leaders like her, and we really need to join our effort and build a team of global transformers so that we have a common idea of what our future will look like. Thank you so much to all the presenters, the speakers, for your brilliant ideas. With you, this world will never be the same again, and our children will have a brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew?
Hi, thank you for joining this program. And this session was very nice and insensitive for me. So I will continue working my project and getting the power of everyone together. And thank you very much for all of you. I'm very nice to see you. Thank you.
And Ms. Nakamitsu?
Thank you. Really great to see you. I would just like to end with what President Nelson Mandela said. You can start changing our world for the better daily, no matter how small the action. So let's do it together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. That's so beautiful. Oh, I hope you have been inspired by our speakers who are leading marvelous actions on complex agenda with engaging people. And this will bring us to the end of the session. Thank you so much for watching.